IRB Chief Executive Mike Miller, thanks for talking with Total Rugby. So Mike, firstly, what's your reaction to Japan coming on board as a host nation for the HSBC Sevens World Series?
I think it's great news. The game of sevens is growing exponentially, along with the 15s game as well. It's great to see them both growing together. Real impetus from us being in the Olympics and Rio in 2016. Japan, it's a big rugby country. We've got Rugby World Cup 2019 there as well. They've wanted to have a sevens tournament for some time. We're sure they'll do a really good job. And I think having a HSBC Sevens World Series tournament in Tokyo will be a great addition to the series.
And having events now in Asia, within Hong Kong, Japan and Dubai, how important is Asia for the IRB?
Asia is very important, not just for the IRB and for rugby, but for all sport. It's a huge population centre. A lot of the young people in the world are in Asia as well. Growing population, but also growing economy. The world, in terms of sports, is shifting towards Asia. It's important that rugby has a share of people who are playing and watching sport. And so to have another event in Asia, I think, is very important for the growth, not just of sevens, but also of 15s rugby.
And what do you think Japan will bring to the series?
Very good at organising. People will have a great time going to Tokyo. It's another interesting venue for people to go to, travel around and follow the series. I know the teams will have a good time as well. The Japanese are determined to raise their level in the international game. They have a thriving domestic league. They have a very good game at the college and university level, but they've known for the last couple of years they have to raise their game at the international level. I think this will help them do that. But for the teams and for people who follow rugby or watch it, it'll just, the Japanese, when they do something, they do it very well. People will get behind it. It'll be a really exciting tournament. I know everyone will have a good time there as well.
It must be a nice way to strengthen a working relationship with the fact that Rugby World Cup is in Japan in 2019.
Yes, it's also helpful for the Japanese Rugby Union and the people who will be involved in the planning for Rugby World Cup. It gives them a chance to test out certain procedures to build up professionalism in lots of different areas and just to train up a bigger group of people, because running a Rugby World Cup takes a lot of people and you need a lot of experience. And yes, they can get an experience from around the world, but what you want is to have a legacy so that once the World Cup is finished, you have that extra knowledge back home as well. And so running a Sevens World Series event, it's not the same as running 48 matches over 44 days, but still, it all helps in building up that knowledge base.
And that will extend the series to 9 events. Can we expect to see it grow even further in the years to come?
Yes, I think very swiftly we'll move to 10 events and then we'll pause there and see how things go. But there are a lot of cities, a lot of countries who've already been in touch with us. They want to host events. And so I think that the sky's the limit. I doubt we will stop at 10, but we'll wait and see how things go. But the series is very popular. We've seen record broadcast viewing figures, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. And once we're in the Olympics, then it'll really take off as well then.
So I guess the fact now that rugby sevens is an Olympic sport, that the interest in people wanting to host tournaments must have grown significantly.
It has, and also people wanted to take part in the sport, and not just sevens, also 15s as well. A number of countries that have never shown any interest in rugby before have now come forward and said, well, how do we get involved? What do we do? How do we set up a union? How do we play? How do we win a medal? Which is what they all want. But also in countries where rugby has a long tradition, but as a minority sport, such as the USA, the national television networks have taken an interest for the first time. Rugby World Cup is going to be on NBC, which is one of the national terrestrial networks, for the first time ever. And the government is interested. The United States Olympic Committee is interested. They're interested in rugby because of the Olympics. And then when they see it, the great thing, for instance, with NBC, they saw sevens, they liked it. Then they saw 15s as a result. They like that as well, and they want to show 15s rugby. They want to look at, showing the Six Nations and Super Rugby and the Tri-Nations. So all of rugby grows. It's not just the sevens game, and that's the great thing about being in the Olympics. People who hadn't seen rugby, hadn't considered it, are now seeing it for the first time, and we know that if they see it, they'll love it and they'll want more of it.
Mike, thanks for talking with Total Rugby.